Welcome to the Manifestation Babe podcast. My name is Catherine Zinkina, and I'm a manifestation expert, master mindset coach, and multiple seven-figure entrepreneur. I'm obsessed with helping you achieve everything that you once thought was impossible. If you're looking to massively up-level your life, your finances, your relationships, your productivity and success, then you have come to the right place. My goal in this podcast is to help you see the infinite potential within yourself to be, do, and have anything that your heart desires. Think of this podcast as your weekly dose of mindset development to help you maximize who you are and where you're going. Leave it to me to provide you with the tools, the resources, the strategies, and teachings that you need to manifest a reality wilder than your wildest dreams. I know we're about to have so much fun together, so thank you so much for pushing play today. And now let's begin. Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Manifestation Babe podcast. I am currently recording this live from Sedona. You guys, we have had a freaking snowstorm that started right when we arrived a couple days ago. And from the moment that I'm recording right now, there's like a foot of snow on the ground. And this is so exciting. It makes me so happy. I'm one of those people that really loves sunshine. Like the more consistent the sunshine, the better. The temperatures can vary. Like I don't mind if it's cold and sunny. I don't mind if it's like warm and sunny. I don't mind if it's hot and sunny. As long as the sun is out, I'm happy. But every now and then it's like, you want some snow, you know what I mean? You want some rain. You just need a little bit of variety, and being able to leave Los Angeles and experience different seasons and different variety and different places just makes me so happy. So I'm in a great mood recording this podcast. As you already know, or may have guessed, this is a continuation of the series that I've been doing where I answer your top manifestation questions. So a couple weeks ago now, I posted a post on Instagram asking you to submit your most wanted to be answered questions when it comes to manifestation, any confusion that you've had or anything that doesn't make sense to you. I would love to speak on it because this is what I do in my programs is I am like the queen of Q&As. I love Q&As, and I'm always inviting my students to ask me plenty of questions that I answer on a weekly or every other week basis, depending on the program. And of course, there's been some changes with our programs now, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, but overall, love Q&As. So this is a continuation. This is now part 4. And today I'm going to answer 4 of the last questions that I had on my original list. Now, before we go into the questions, if you're listening to this episode right now on the day that it was uploaded, that means that enrollment for the Manifestation Babe Academy, my one-stop shop for all things manifestation, for like literally the ultimate school of manifesting, is open, and it's actually closing soon. So if you haven't yet had a chance to check out and enroll into MBA, I know a lot of you have already enrolled inside of MBA, which congratulations. But for any of you who haven't had a chance to check it out yet, or this is like your 5th reminder and now is the time for you to finally enroll, you've made that decision, you can go to manifestationbabeacademy.com to catch all of the details and also sign up before the doors close on February 5th at midnight. Actually, let me just confirm that real quick while I have my calendar here. So I'm giving you guys the right dates. Yes, February 5th at midnight. So that's Friday at midnight, which just gives you a couple of days from the moment that this podcast has been uploaded. So I, of course, am totally biased when I say this, but I truly mean that this, in my opinion, is the best manifestation program out there because, you know, of course I created the thing, but I truly mean it when I say that this program is everything you're ever going to need to go from where you are today to learning how to call in and keep your dream life. I don't leave anything out of this version of Manifestation Babe, Manifestation Babe Academy. You know, I created the Manifestation Babe Academy because I noticed this gap in the spiritual community. And for a really long time now, you know, since I've been applying this knowledge and kind of like encouraging other people to do it and watching, you know, how other people are absorbing this knowledge and how they're applying it into their life, I've noticed that there's a big gap in the spiritual community where There's so many people who have all the information that they could ever want. They've been doing all the Googling. They've been doing all the TikToking. They've been doing all the podcasting. They've been listening to everything, reading everything, but they don't have results to show for that knowledge, right? There's the people who are running with it, who understand it, who are applying it, who are living it. And then of course, there's the people who may have that quote unquote correct information, but they don't necessarily have the results to show for that knowledge. And this is not because manifestation doesn't work. It's because there's so much confusing and conflicting information out there. And most people just don't have the level of understanding that I've been able to develop just from like the years and years and years and years of research and development and testing things out and testing them on myself, testing them on my students. And now teach exactly how on a scientific, on a spiritual, on a mental, psychological level, manifestation works, like how exactly reality is created. And, given in a very simple and easy to understand format, of course, because we can get very deep in all of the, what am I talking about? Like the different pieces. And the thing is that I didn't even understand exactly how all the little tiny pieces worked, in order for me to apply it. But there is a certain level of how that you need to understand to know that you're working with the system, with this matrix, right? With the simulation rather than against it. And you're creating a wanted reality versus an unwanted reality. And I see a lot of people practicing certain practices and teaching certain practices and being like, you just need to do these 5 things, or you just need to do this one thing 10 times a day. But most people don't know why those things are practiced. They have no idea why they're doing the things that they're doing. And so what I do in MBA is I literally break down why you do the things that you do. And then I give you a customized, basically formula using different things that I've learned over the last couple of years, including most recently human design, so that you could apply it to the way that you were wired. So you're not just following some formula. You're not just following my formula. You're not following someone else's formula. You're not following that influencer's formula. You're literally following the formula that you created for yourself because you understand why you're doing the things that you're doing, and you're understanding that thing doesn't work for me because XYZ. That thing works for me because XYZ. And then overall, generally, what actually works versus what doesn't work, as well as all the deep unconscious programming, of course, that people are unaware of. So even if they have the right information and they're quote unquote doing the right things, there is still this deep unconscious programming that I literally lay out for you of how that happens, how that works, and how you can uncover it, how you can gain awareness of it, how you can rewire it. And that's where I specialize, is I help you rewire that. So this program is obviously my new baby. It's my 12 years wrapped up of manifestation wisdom in a single place where you will learn how to figure out what you really want, clear out any crap, any and all of this crap that's clogging up your flow of receiving the things that you want. So it actually showing up in your reality. Release self-sabotaging behaviors that slow down the manifestation process. So no longer taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. We don't want that kind of thing, right? You will learn here to attract everything that you want and create a life that not only looks great on the outside, because let me tell you, it will look great on the outside, but what matters most, like to me personally, and what matters to me, like for my students, of what I want to help my students create, is a life that feels fucking amazing on the inside. So you're not just physically abundant and wealthy and prosperous, right? But you're also internally, mentally, emotionally abundant, prosperous, and all those good things. So that's what you're going to find in this 16-week program that I've been developing all year long. And if you're familiar with my past Manifestation Babe Academy, that was a 4-week long program. So as you can imagine, I've expanded it a freaking ton. Or Rich Babe Academy, which was a 6-week program, all about money manifestation. I've actually combined the two and evolved both of them so that they're 2 programs that you're going to get in one. And the reason why I felt called to retire those programs is because I really wanted to create this one singular place where I can help you. And there's no other manifestation program that you're pretty much ever going to need again. Like I give you lifetime access. By you enrolling, you get access to all future updates, anything that I add to this specific program. And this is like the foundation of what I'm building upon for Manifestation Babe, where if you do want to work with me, it's like, come to this one place and I'm going to fucking give it to you all. There's not going to be like 12 different, graduate levels that you have to go to get this one secret that the program didn't share, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, it's just really good stuff. I mean, I'm sure you can hear my passion when I talk about it. I'm very proud of what I've created, and I can't wait for you to experience this for yourself. So go to manifestationbabeacademy.com to check out all the deets and enroll before the doors closed. And of course, if you have any questions about my program that maybe I haven't answered yet, my team is there for you. They're always available via email. You can email them at hello@manifestationbabe.com. Again, that's hello@manifestationbabe.com. Just drop something like MBA question in the subject line and they will get back to you within 24-ish hours. Of course, we're in the middle of a launch enrollment, so we definitely appreciate your patience. Okay, let's get into the Q&A, shall we? So the first question I have here is from rshell11, so at rshell11. And you ask, how do you get yourself back into alignment when the universe throws you a curveball that came out of nowhere? Okay, I love this question. And I'm going to give you a mindfuck realization that I had a long time ago that helps me every single time that the universe does throw some sort of curveball where I'm like, WTF, what is this? And how do I get it out of my way, right? So I've developed this understanding that I just realized that the curveball is actually part of the alignment. Okay. So you're asking, how do you get yourself back into alignment? But realizing that the curveball is actually part of the alignment. It is the alignment. And here's the thing, here's how that works. It's the universe's way of getting you back on the path that you're meant to be on. So the way I like to look at this is if you've ever played bowling, which I'm not very good at bowling, you know how you have like those bumpers in the lane that you could put up for kids so that, or adults that, aren't very good like me. And so if the ball hits the, almost goes into the other lane or goes into the gutter, you have those lanes that literally just bump the ball back into the lane so that you can get to your destination, which the destination are the pins that you're supposed to knock down. So the way I see these curveballs is that even though we are, as human beings, very limited to only the perspective that we have, and we don't realize that the curveball could actually be one of our greatest gifts, right? The universe, knowing that it's one of our greatest gifts, if we choose to learn whatever lesson that is coming out of this curveball, the universe is literally just putting up these bumpers so that we can stay on our path. And whenever I do have a curveball experience, I always ask myself, what am I meant to learn from this curveball? How is this curveball a gift from God? How is this curveball actually putting me back in alignment with my purpose, with my mission, and my vision? And this new level of perception will instantly allow you to use the curveball for your benefit rather than letting it derail you. So at first you're like, oh my God, what is this weird bumper that I just experienced? Like that just came out of nowhere. I thought I was supposed to be going that direction. And of course you can only see like the next few steps. The universe has the entire path. And so it looks like something that just like threw you off course when if you look at the grand picture and you just let it keep unfolding, you'll see that this is something that was always for your benefit. It was never something meant to derail you. And the only way it can derail you is if you don't have this perception, like this new level of perception. And all it comes down to is just having this awareness, asking the right questions. And just a small example of how this showed up in my life is In my business a couple years ago, I was having these very successful launches as I was launching things like MBA, RBA, et cetera, et cetera. And one launch just completely it was like the complete opposite of what we expected. And it was such a downgrade from what we've been experiencing up until that point. And instead of letting that derail me and create these expectations that I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, there's something wrong with me, oh my God, all my other successes were a fluke, blah, 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 blah. I just sat down with my journal, and I'm forever grateful that I did this exercise. I just asked myself, like, how is this launch the best launch I've ever had? And even though, you could look at it and be like, Catherine, this is clearly not the best launch you've ever had in terms of what happened in the physical 3D realm. I got smart and I asked from the perspective of like taking on a spiritual perspective, a higher perspective. And I was like, how is this the best launch I've ever had? And how can I make this the best launch I've ever had? And guess what? The lessons that I used from that curveball is what led me to creating a $1.85 million launch, which I had last Rich Babe launch. And so, my success in the past was a 600K launch. And then this launch that kind of bombed, at least in my opinion, was like a 100K launch, which I could have been like, wow, that was all a fluke. This is it. This is the end. Nobody wants my programs. Instead, I was like, nah, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going forward with this. I'm going to use this curveball as the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And from there, that's how I got to those bigger launches. So I don't know what your curveball is, but I'm pretty sure that if you just dig deep enough, you will find that benefit from it. The next question from Campsite Vibes. Again, it's at Campsite Vibes. How do you move past feeling scarce when manifesting? So I love this question. I learned early on, and by early on, I just mean a couple years ago when I was working through all of my money beliefs, was that scarcity is an illusion perpetuated by the ego. And you see, the ego is designed to constantly look for what is threatening our survival. So if you let the ego run the show, which is this limited, like more human part of you, it's like the part of you that's here to help you survive, it's going to look at anything. It will literally look at anything and be like, see, it's not enough. That is not enough. Like, you need to ramp things up. You need to work harder, girl, because this is not enough. This is scarce, right? And we immediately go into survival mode of frantically trying to figure out how to have enough. And this frantic mode of trying to figure out how to have enough perpetuates a lifetime of feeling scarce. And when we feel scarce, when we're manifesting, that perpetuates a reality of scarcity. And again, even if it's physical 3D tangible scarcity, it's still an illusion of scarcity, because what we're experiencing in the 3D physical realm is a reflection of what's happening on the inside. And what's happening on the inside is that internally there is no scarcity, right? So if you can just put yourself in that position of realizing there is no scarcity, and that's the story that I'm going to tell myself, then that's what's going to change. Because here's the thing, even if you have plenty, and even if you're far from being completely without, the ego is still there to protect you and keep you safe and look out for anything that threatens your survival. So this feeling will come up several times throughout your journey. This feeling still comes up for me, and I'm pretty far from scarcity at this point in my life, right? Like, I have my finances, handled. I have plenty. Like, I feel very, very blessed. And yet still every now and then I do have this feeling of scarcity come up, which is why it helps to have awareness of this, and having awareness that scarcity is an illusion that's trying to keep us safe, and the fact that we can equally focus on what is abundant in our life is the game changer. So when I'm feeling scarce, I remind myself first and foremost that it's a natural thing for it to come up. And that doesn't mean it's my truth. It doesn't mean that what my ego is telling me is how things actually are. My ego has a very limited perspective of life. And so therefore what it's seeing is the most limited reality that it could possibly see. And I choose my truth. So the truth that I choose is that I'm abundant, I have plenty, and I have more than enough. And because the mind loves evidence, or the ego loves evidence, in order to believe something, it's very important that when you're shifting this programming, that you're also counting the things that you have in abundance in your life. So even if I feel scarcity around this thing in my life, like let's say I feel scarce about X, then I will create evidence I will tell my mind, I will show my mind, yes, sure, maybe, if you want to believe that, even though I don't want to believe that. But here is what's going to be the counter argument to this belief that isn't going to serve us. Here are all the things that we have in abundance in our life. So therefore, it's not necessarily true that we're experiencing scarcity. You could look at your life as like, I have an abundant amount of love, or I have an abundant amount of warm, fuzzy blankets. Like you can actually count something if you want to. I have an abundant amount of food and water in my fridge. I have an abundant amount of friends and people I can talk to, and so on and so forth. Sometimes your ego just needs this friendly reminder. And the more often you shift that focus from what you don't have enough of to what you have plenty of, you will actually build those neural connections in your brain. So you're going to break off those neural connections that are connected to remind you constantly, to signal that there's scarcity. And you're actually going to build, this is the premise of neuroplasticity. You're going to build those neural connections in your brain of like, hey, look how much abundance we have. So every time you feel that way, it's going to get actually less and less frequent. It's going to be harder and harder to access the feeling of scarcity. And it's going to be much easier and easier and easier to access the feeling of abundance, which is awesome. So the next question, at Megan Granda, how do you deal with parents and close friends not supporting your goals and manifestations? Okay. I'm going to say this and I'm going to repeat it a couple times. Okay. I really want you to get this. You don't need their support in order to manifest your goals. Again, you don't need their support in order to manifest your goals. Be the one, Megan, to inspire those who didn't support you by doing you anyway. Okay. Rather than the one who held herself back because you didn't have support. And so the outcome of that is that not only were you held back, but everyone else was held back in the process. And I believe, like for me personally, I would much rather be the example. And here's the thing. Everyone needs an example of what's possible, even if they don't know that. The people who are not supportive of your goals and manifestations, they might not even know that they're just looking for someone to show them what's possible because they don't believe that it's possible for them. And they need to see that as an example. And so you get to be that example. And you get to take the super empowering position of being the one who shows them what's possible. But in order to do that, you have to let go of the fact that you're looking for that support and just know that you don't need support in order to manifest your goals. And through that consistency of just sticking with it and you achieving your goals, it's like not only are you going to be able to keep that success because you didn't do it just to prove it to other people, because a lot of people, that's like called egoic success, or at least what I call egoic success. It's success from the ego, where you're doing something or you're manifesting something just to prove someone wrong or just to show them like, hey, I did it anyway. And instead, the whole time in your journey, you are creating something because you actually want to create it. And then the side benefit, it's not even a side benefit, it's a huge benefit, but it's not something that you're consciously thinking about all the time, is that you are the one who shows them what's possible. And so you get to inspire everybody in your surroundings. You get to lift up everybody with your surroundings by being the one who is like, you know what? Cool. You want to laugh. You want to roll your eyes. I'm going to do it anyway. And then I'm going to come back. You're going to see, right? Because you're going to see me living my best life. And then you're going to ask me how I did it. And that's literally, Megan, what I experience all the time now is people coming out of the woodworks being like, all right, Catherine was actually right about these things. And now I want to know how she did it. And so they ask me, and because I'm a very nice person, I'm not spiteful at all, I will tell them, be like, hey, nice to see you. Welcome back. Here's how I did it. Here's how you can do it. Here's my course. Come on into my world and we can all live our best life together. So the last question is from @mind_spaces. And this one kind of made me giggle at first because you're even going to hear this. You're going to be like, duh. Like the answer is just duh, right? But I do want to kind of expand on this. So the question is, do you believe in the law of attraction? And what does the law of attraction mean to you? So the reason why I chose to add this on here is because I want to expand on this. And I think it's an important expansion. and something that I dive deeper into in the Manifestation Babe Academy as well. So, of course, my answer is duh, right? The law of attraction means to me that we attract what we're an energetic match to. And that's, of course, a very important piece of manifestation. However, it is not the entire picture. And this is what blew my mind after some years of being on this journey of constantly picking up intuitive information, downloading information that the law of attraction is not the full picture, which is why so many people get frustrated with the law of attraction, because the law of attraction doesn't explain everything. And so I'll never forget my very first round of Rich Babe Academy, I created a whole module kind of speaking on these other things that can happen on your manifestation journey. And it wasn't until a couple rounds later that I launched it that I finally found this framework. And I have no idea how I found it, to be honest. I somehow divinely stumbled upon it, which talked about the different laws of manifestation. And when I read these explanations, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I knew all along. This is so cool. So there's a more of a framework now, but I call them the laws of manifestation. And there are more laws in play when it comes to manifestation that explain the entire picture, because just focusing on the law of attraction on its own, in my opinion, can be very frustrating, because the law of attraction doesn't explain, for example, why action is important, right? Very important part of manifestation. That's why a lot of people who watch The Secret or read The Secret, they came to this conclusion that all you have to do is just sit on your couch and visualize, because the law of attraction is just going to bring it to you. It's just going to pop up in thin air. But we know that that's not how necessarily it works. So there's something called the law of action, for example, that explains why it doesn't work that way and how you need to have this other law in place and follow this other law in order for you to receive that thing that you want. And for example, there's the law of relativity that explains why we still experience challenges and obstacles, even if we are at the right vibrational frequency, right? Why does that happen? It explains why it happens. It also explains, there's laws that explain why you can have negative thoughts and not necessarily manifest them into form, and why just because you think of something, it doesn't immediately show up in your reality, right? Imagine you just think of I really like the example they use in The Secret, which is this guy just thinking about an elephant, and next thing you know, an elephant shows up in his living room. Thank God it doesn't work that quickly. But there are laws that determine why that doesn't happen and how you can use those particular laws in order to, kind of shift yourself underneath all these laws and shift and play underneath these laws and put your manifestation into this framework so that it's always working for you and not against you. Because you could be doing the law of attraction correctly, but if you're not doing the other laws correctly, then there's of course going to be something that stands in your way, right? So this is why I teach all the laws of manifestation inside of MBA, just because it paints a much bigger picture. And the bigger picture is what gave me so much clarity, but also sanity on my journey. And that's it, you guys. So that concludes the Q&A series. I really hope you enjoyed these Q&As. And if any of these spoke to you, definitely tag me on Instagram at Manifestation Babe. I'm always interested in hearing what your takeaways were. And I also hope to see many of you inside of MBA. So again, the link is manifestationbabeacademy.com. Again, it's manifestationbabeacademy.com. The doors close at midnight on Friday, February 5th. You'll find all the details on what's inside and how to enroll and any bonuses and anything like that on the website. As I've mentioned, I'm also going to put it in the show notes as well, so you can just click it and easily access it. I love you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy this snow, and I hope you have an incredible day. Mwah. See you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming your way. If you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up the extra inspiration on Instagram by following at Manifestation Babe or visiting my website at manifestationbabe.com. I love and adore you so much and can't wait to connect with you in the next episode. In the meantime, go out there and manifest some magic.